So what do you think? Should we do this thing? Without a doubt, I'm ready. It's gorgeous. Let's do some football today. We welcome you to the 2025 Patriots Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is John Rook. It's been my privilege to have been the voice of Gillette Stadium since well before Coach Parcells even got here. But we're going to celebrate his career, Julian Edelman's career, and the careers of everyone along the way for your six-time Super Bowl champion, New England Patriots. Today we gathered to honor not just one, but two new members joining the Patriots Hall of Fame. Two legends, one of course who prowled the sidelines, one that dominated out of the slot receiver position used so effectively during the Patriots dynasty. But before we kick off the program today, we'd be remiss if we didn't take just a bit of time to remember all the former Patriots who have passed away this year, including Len St. Jean, who played for the Boston and New England Patriots, tight end Don Hasselbeck, and Super Bowl 36 champion Matt Stevens. If you would please honor them for a moment with a moment of silence. Thank you. You know, back in 1993, the Patriots are coming off 4 seasons in which they won a total of 14 games, including a 2-14 season in 1992. Yep, I remember that. But on January the 21st of 1993, something else I also remember very well, because I was out here freezing, standing in line waiting for tickets, along with many of you. Two-time Super Bowl champion head coach Bill Parcells arrived in New England and brought optimism back to our region. 4 years later, the Patriots were AFC champions and playing in the Super Bowl. Julian Edelman arrived in Foxborough in 2009 as an undersized college quarterback drafted in the 7th round out of Kent State. He was just hoping to make the team. He was willing to play any role to do so. Not only did he make the team, he made it here today to the Hall of Fame by successfully filling any and every role that came along his way. These two men helped provide all of us with so many amazing memories. So today, it's our turn to make this moment memorable for them and their families. Before introducing the alumni in attendance here today, we'd like to thank RTX for the amazing partnership with the Hall that dates back to 2008. With the help of RTX, the Hall has built a STEM education program that hosts more than 20,000 field trip visitors annually. So thank you to RTX for that championship partnership. And speaking of championships, we now present 6 of our very best friends, our 6 Vince Lombardi championship trophies. Today, we are honored to welcome back more than 50 Patriot alumni players. Collectively, they represent more than 280 years of Patriot service spanning 6 decades. The alumni roster is listed on the screen surrounding you here. Please provide all of these gentlemen a warm welcome back home to Foxborough as they make their way to their seats. Isn't it great to see these guys back again? The years are just peeling back, aren't they? Also today, we welcome back 7 Patriot Hall of Famers. Representing his father, Patriots Hall of Fame broadcaster Gil Santos. Let's please welcome back Mark Santos. Mark, where are you? Leading us off, this Hall of Famer set a franchise record with 36 career interceptions, later tied by fellow Hall of Famer Ty Law. He played 13 seasons from 1977 to 1989 and holds the franchise record for consecutive starts with 147. He is a member of the Patriots' 1970s and 1980s all-decade teams and the 2017 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee. Please welcome back Raymond Claiborne. He spent 10 seasons with the Patriots and tied Raymond Claiborne for the team record with 36 career interceptions, including a franchise best 6 that were returned for touchdowns. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler as a Patriot, a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He was inducted into the Patriot Hall of Fame in 2014 and the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming and congratulating the one and only Ty Law. He was the first draft pick selected under the ownership of Robert Kraft. He was one of the cornerstones of the team's success in winning 3 Super Bowls. He owns the NFL record with 16 postseason sacks and set the NFL mark for most sacks in a postseason game with 4.5. Please welcome 2015 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Willie McGinnis. His 19.2-yard average per reception is the best in NFL history among players with 500 or more receptions. He played 13 seasons in New England from 1977 to 1989. His 10,352 receiving yards are the most in team history. He was named to the Patriots' 50th anniversary team in 2009. Please welcome 2007 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Stanley Morgan! He was a fixture who spent 34 seasons on the Patriots sideline while coaching along 6 different head coaches. He coached in 48 of the team's 59 playoff games, including 10 of the franchise's NFL-high 11 Super Bowl appearances and 5 of the Patriots' 6 Super Bowl championships. Please welcome 2023 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Dante Scarnecchia! This guy was as feared by opponents as anyone. One of the greatest linebackers to ever play the game. He's the franchise record holder with 100 career sacks. He holds the team record for most sacks in a season with 18 and a half in 1984. And his 35 sacks by a linebacker over a 2-year span remains an NFL record. He was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2008. Please welcome Patriot and Pro Football Hall of Famer, Andre Tippett! This player joined the Patriots as a free agent in 2001 and went on to become a star contributor for 3 Super Bowl championship teams. He was named to the Patriots 2000 All-Decade Team and the 50th Anniversary Team. He is currently in his first season as Patriot head coach. Welcome 2023 Patriot Hall of Fame member, Mike Vrabel! All right, time to buckle up. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce this afternoon's honorees. If you would please turn your attention to all of our TV monitors and screens for the highlights of a Patriot coach that brought credibility back to the franchise.
Patriots owner Robert Kraft announced the selection of former Patriots head coach Bill Parcells for induction into the Patriots Hall of Fame as a contributor in 2025. In 1993, Parcells arrived in New England as the new head football coach with 2 Super Bowl rings on his resume and the determination to turn the franchise around on his radar. His leadership was a message to football fans everywhere.
We stop them right here. We're going to have time.
Oh, when Bill Parcells first got here, you knew that this guy had a resume. I mean, it's Bill Parcells, for God's sakes. Plus, it's a new sheriff in town. He also told you he was the new sheriff in town. He made football important. We knew that we were going to be a relevant National Football League team.
Within the first year, the Patriots showed improvement. By year 2, Parcells had led them to 10 wins and the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. But it wouldn't stop there. Just 2 years later, the Patriots would be crowned AFC champs, qualifying for their 2nd Super Bowl in franchise history.
Hidden down, fumble. Patriots have it. It's picked up by Otis Smith.
The most impressive thing for me with Parcells was 53 different guys of 53 different walks of life. He knew how to push the buttons on each and every one of them. And just being prepared, like the stuff we practiced on Thursdays and Fridays, situational football, because when it came up in a game, we saw that on Thursday and Friday, so we were good. That was covered.
With his unwavering personality and intensity, Parcells helped bring the Patriots back to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming 2025 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee, Bill Parcells. Okay, if you'll turn your attention back to the television monitors for highlights of another 2025 Patriots Hall of Fame inductee, one known for taking big hits and also making big plays.
With the 232nd pick, New England has selected Julian Edelman, wide receiver from Kent State.
Patriots fans were introduced to 7th-round draft pick Julian Edelman on an August night in 2009. It was a night to remember for both fans and Edelman.
Edelman might take it the distance. No flags that we see, and rookie Julian Edelman's in the end zone.
Edelman's Patriots career was slow to develop, yet he still managed 3 punt returns for touchdowns in his first 4 seasons.
Ring it up! Touchdown, Julian Edelman. Woo! That was pretty.
His versatility became evident in his 3rd season when injuries pressed Julian into a defensive back role. He played regular snaps in all 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams. It all clicked for Julian in the 2013 season as he became more of a focal point on offense.
Into the end zone, wide open, touchdown to Edelman, his 2nd of the day.
Playing in all 16 games and reaching 1,000 yards receiving for the first time in his career.
And he runs it past the 5, he dives to the end zone, touchdown, and the lead.
The guy that I hated practicing against, because every single day he brought a level of toughness, a level of skill, understanding of the offense, and would just try to get after you. That's Julian Edelman.
In 2014, on the way to advancing to Super Bowl 49, former college quarterback dusted off his passing skills to change the momentum in the divisional round.
Edelman motions out for the quick throw for Julian, setting up a screen. He's going to look to throw downfield. Amendola wide open, makes the catch at the 18 in stride. He's gone! Touchdown, Patriots! The roof's off! Just in the backyard.
It was soon apparent that the postseason was Edelman's time to shine. 9 tough catches, including the game winner in Super Bowl 49.
Throws for Edelman! Touchdown, Patriots!
Plus one of the most acrobatic catches in Super Bowl history against Atlanta.
Stands in, throws down the middle for Edelman. Ball's tipped, and Julian diving for it. Did he make the catch?
He's good. I caught it. I caught it.
The receiver's hand is under the ball. The ball never hits the ground.
Capped off with an MVP-winning performance, leading the Patriots to their 6th Super Bowl title. All told, the kid from Kent State ranks 3rd in all-time playoff receptions, behind Jerry Rice and Travis Kelce.
Edelman makes the catch on the run, cuts it right, tripped up, but he stays on his feet, angling to the 40, and he's hammered down from behind.
Are you MVP?
I am.
Yes. When did he show up the most? In the playoffs, when it was time and it mattered the most and the best players had to be their best. You could count on Edelman open, making catches, breaking tackles, being a guy that helped bring championships back to Foxborough.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming 2025 Patriot Hall of Fame inductee, Julian Edelman! You know, when he bought the New England Patriots back in 1994, he vowed to help bring a championship home to all of us. Under his ownership, Patriots have qualified for the playoffs 22 times, won 19 division titles, 10 AFC championships, and 6 Super Bowls. He has also turned Gillette Stadium into one of the world's premier sports and concert venues. It's my pleasure to introduce the chairman and CEO of the New England Patriots, Mr. Robert Kraft.
Welcome, everyone, and I'll say, when we built the Patriots Hall of Fame, our vision was clear: to create a lasting tribute to the legends who made this franchise, coaches and players whose impact transcended the field, a place where generations of Patriot fans could come to celebrate greatness. Today, we honor 2 such great icons, Bill Parcells and Julian Edelman. Let me begin with the man who helped lay the very foundation of what the New England Patriots would become. In 1993, Bill Parcells stepped into a franchise in turmoil and gave it something desperately needed: identity, structure, and hope. He didn't just arrive in Foxborough, he stormed it. Parcells was old school, tough, uncompromising, a head coach with an iron fist, which, by the way, featured 2 Super Bowl rings. Those rings gave him instant credibility, not just in the locker room, but with the media and across all our fandom. He was a Jersey guy through and through, with a sharp wit and an even sharper tongue. His sideline fire and his ability to challenge and motivate players, often with biting humor, became legendary. He knew how to push buttons, and he loved to bust chops. In his first season, he took the 2-14 team and closed the year with a 4-game win streak, capped by a dramatic overtime victory against the Dolphins. It was the most excitement Patriot fans had felt in nearly a decade. That momentum and the belief he inspired was a major reason I made the decision to keep the team here in New England and preventing it from moving to St. Louis. I paid what was then the highest price ever for any sports professional team anywhere in the world. And in our first year together, Bill led the team a season-exciting 7-game win streak at the end, and our first playoff win in 8 years. In our next 3 seasons together, he took us to the playoffs twice and delivered 2 first-time home playoff game wins, and we won the AFC Championship and went to the Super Bowl. Bill made the players believe, he made the fans believe, and he made me believe. Bill built a culture. He mentored players and coaches who would go on to shape the NFL. He laid the groundwork for the dynasty that followed, guiding future Patriot Hall of Famers and instilling the values that became our identity. Over the years, we've both mellowed. We've shared laughs, rapped stories, swapped stories, and reflected on the foundation we built together. And today I want to say, thank you, Bill. Thank you for the fire. Thank you for the fight. Thank you for the foundation. And thank you for the many contributions you made to this franchise. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you one of the greatest head coaches of all time, Coach Bill Parcells.
Obviously, I am very humble and honored by this award, and I thank Robert very much and the Patriot family. You know, this is kind of melancholy for me in a couple of ways, and I want to tell you why, because I don't know whether all the fans here know, but this is where I started my professional football career. And 1980, my first year in football, I had aspired to be a pro coach for my last 5 or 6 years in college. I didn't know whether I was going to get the opportunity, but it came here. I'm an East Coast guy. I loved it. And came up, and I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't have come to a better place. And I want to tell you why. In those days, I have to tell you, we had training camp down there at Bryant College, Smithfield, Rhode Island. And I remember going down there and walking on the field for my first practice. And I walked out there about 20 minutes early. And I looked down there at my lapel on my jacket. And I was giving myself a pep talk. And I said, you know, Parcells, we're really doing this now. And we're going to find out what you got when we get started. And that was the beginning. And we had a great collection of coaches, some of the great names in pro football. Gino Capoletti, you all know, Raymond Berry, Jim Ringo. It was great. It really was. They helped me with that. And there were two other men here at the time that probably had more influence on me than any other single people in pro football. One of them was the then general manager. His name was Bucko Kilroy. And the other was the personnel director, and his name was Mike Holloway. I didn't know Bucko when I came here, but I knew Mike slightly from interaction in the college ranks. And I don't know why they did this, but they befriended me. I really don't know why. Here I am, just a new guy, college coach, come in here trying to keep up with the football and the systems and the new personnel and everything. And they're taking me aside during the course of that entire year. And they taught me every single aspect of personnel acquisition in the NFL. And they taught me a draft system. They taught me an evaluation system. They taught me the critical factors for every position, every player. They taught me all the trade mechanisms. And they insisted I learn it. And occasionally, they would put a test on my desk. It would have 10 questions, and I had to answer them. Or they'd put two guys' names down, and I had to write reports to them. And when the test came back, if I had an answer wrong, it had a red check on it like I was in 4th grade again. But it was invaluable. The other thing that existed down there, I just saw some of these guys here today, was the visuals of what pro players are supposed to look like. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is my first experience, so I'm going out there. Well, these visuals that I'm going to recite to you were the things that I used as comparisons for all future acquisitions. Now, we had two corners. One of them was here tonight, Ray Claiborne and Mike Haynes. Now, I'm going to tell you, those guys would be stars in the NFL today. They would. Every time I was looking at a corner, I was on film or wherever I was evaluating them, I'm comparing them to Claiborne and Haynes. Then we had prototype linemen, John Hanna, Pete Brock. Every time I look at offensive linemen, I'm comparing them to Brock. Prototype tight ends, Russ Francis and Don Hasselbeck. First of the big block, speed down the field, receiving tight ends. We had two of them here. So those were my points of comparison. And I took them with me wherever I went, and I followed through all the way with that. So this place has a place in my heart. It always will. We sometimes reflect on things, and you wish you would have done things a little differently. Well, when I come back here and I see this, I wish I would have done things a little differently. But as we got going, we stabilized the quarterback a little bit with Drew. We started making some picks, started getting better quality players, got in a couple playoff games. We won a little something. And finally, the New England Patriots were competitive. So I want to thank, namely, all the players that were involved in that, because it was a real grind, ladies and gentlemen. It was a real grind physically, and it was a real grind mentally. And they withstood it and profited from it. The other thing, when Robert came, now we got the resources to compete too. So now we were able to do those things that we hadn't been able to do before. And so that's what kind of made it and got it going. And I just want to say thank you to the coaches that I had who worked hard. And I'm remiss, I didn't mention her earlier, I wanted to, my personal assistant, Kathleen O'Neill. I know she's somewhere, I just don't know where she is. But, you know, she wasn't there for a lot of dinners at home with her husband. She was banging it out with us during the week. And then the other woman I wanted to mention, longtime friend of mine, this woman has devoted her entire working life to this franchise. Her name's Nancy Meyer, and I want to tell you, she is a true Patriot. I want to congratulate Julian. I told you I wish I could have got my hands on you, buddy. We would have some fun. So I say thank you. I'm humble and I'm honored, and I appreciate everything you guys have done.
Coach, thank you so much. It's really great to see you. Thank you for being with us. Congratulations. At this time, please give a warm welcome as I welcome to the stage and to our interview chairs, Willie McGinnis, Ted Johnson, Dante Scarnecchia with the radio voice of the Patriots, Bob Socci, and Coach Parcells.
little bit, yes, sir. I know.
Thank you, John, and thank you, everyone. We have with us two of the building blocks defensively from those Parcells years. Of course, Dante Scarnecchia, whose career spans so many head coaches and so much success for this franchise, and the newly enshrined head coach in the Hall of Fame, Coach Bill Parcells. And Bill, you mentioned getting Drew #1 pick overall when you took over. The team had been the worst in the league. You started getting players like these guys, good ones. How did you get them to believe?
You know, I don't know that there's any single mechanism that you use to do that. You just got to be yourself, and you've got to gain their trust. And if you gain their trust, they believe in what you're trying to do. They're trying to win. I mean, they want to win. It's in their best interest that they do that. So, you know, just get them to gain your trust and tell them what to do. Sometimes you got to make them do it.
Hey, Dante, you had coached here with a couple of other head coaches before Bill's arrival. What did you make of Bill Parcells when he came to Foxborough?
Well, like a lot of us, we all saw him on TV when he was prowling the sidelines with the Giants. And you always got the impression like no one's safe on that sideline with this guy, okay? And it didn't matter who they were. In fact, the better players they were, like Sims, like Carson, like LT, like Bavaro, the better player you were, the more he went after you, okay? And it all came down with him to expectation levels. And he said that to our team one day, and it's a life lesson, and if I have a minute, I'm just going to share it with all you. He got on a whiteboard with a black felt pen and in big letters wrote one word: conflict. And I was sitting in the back of the room saying, oh man, this is going to be good. And so here's what he said. He goes, fellas, conflict is a byproduct of one of two things. You lie to me or you fail to meet my expectations, we're going to be in conflict. But wait a minute. This shows, the next thing he said shows you the wisdom of this guy. And he said, it works both ways. If I lie to you or I fail to meet your expectations, then you have a right to be in conflict with me. And if you think about that, what an amazing way to have relationships with people. Don't lie and do everything you can to meet their expectations. And that's what he strived to do with all the team and all the players he ever coached. And Coach, that's a life lesson. I've never forgotten it. I taught it to my kids, my grandkids, and every player I coached after you left.
Would you teach it to McGinnis?
Well, let's pick up on that right there, Willie. You come in a 4th pick overall in the draft from Southern California. You come to New England. I don't know if you ever fell in conflict with Coach Parcells, but what do you think of those words, and how much do they resonate with you all these years later?
I think they resonate not only with me, but just his style, his personality, and throughout the team. And you asked the question, how do we buy in? Well, it was tough love, and everybody who've either coached or played under Parcells will tell you it was tough love, and he kicked our ass. He did, and I was comfortable with it because that's the environment I had come from. But the way he related to every single player and the way he treated every single player was fair. It didn't matter if you was the first pick or you was an undrafted free agent. Everybody was treated the same. Everybody had the same respect, and everybody was held accountable. So I think when you're drafted, and I always say he gave birth to my career and taught me what football was really about, because it was tough, it was physical, it was mental, it was being held accountable. You got to have thick skin, couldn't be thin skin. It's football, but he taught you the game in a tough, loving manner. And I think that's something that I carried from my first year all the way throughout my career. This is the way football is supposed to be, and this is the way it's supposed to be taught, and this is the way it's supposed to be played.
Daddy, you came here from Colorado right after Ty Law and Curtis Martin were picked in the same draft. How much will you attest to what Willie just said, and how much does that tough love continue in a lot of ways in your life and help shape you today?
Absolutely. No, Willie's dead on when he says that. That was coached to a T. Tough but fair. Always very, very fair. And what I appreciated about Coach Parcells, and not every coach is wired this way, but this is a style that I really resonated with and just really connected with, and that was the fact that Coach Parcells had an emotional investment in seeing his guys do well. You know, if there was a term that people used back then called, you've a Parcells guy, and it was from his time with New York, and you wanted to be a Parcells guy, and that was kind of that was what motivated you as a player when you were coached by Coach Parcells. And so you really just didn't want to let him down because he spent time with you. We used to practice about an 8-minute drive from here. And there were some fields next to an old abandoned mental state hospital, right? Yeah. And so it was a short drive from the stadium. We had to go to practice every day, obviously. And Coach Parcells was always bumming rides off of people, especially to get back to the stadium. And so you always felt lucky if you ever had the opportunity to get asked for a ride back to the stadium from Coach Parcells, 'cause for that 6 minutes, you got his undivided attention, and he would connect with you on a level that, let's face it, in pro sports, not every coach did, but he took the time to do that with his guys, and I always appreciated and loved that about him. He was just his way of connecting with players was unmatched from any coach I've ever seen, and I'll tell you what. He goes on to coach for another team. Whenever you played those teams, you wanted to play a great game because you wanted to show Coach that he made the right decision in drafting you. So I sign off on everything Willie said. Tough love, but fair, and always had an emotional investment in seeing his guys do well, and that's been a lot to us.
Coach, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you when you hear your former players like this? And I know there's so many out there for all the teams you coach.
Just seeing, I haven't seen these players in a long time. I'm getting a little older. You never know whether you're going to see them or not. So it's just an appreciation to hear their words because I haven't heard those before from them. It means a lot to me. I'm honored. And just get to the quarterback, I guess.
One quick one for the rest of you guys. Dante, how did Bill make you a better coach?
Again, accountability, the value of hard work, trying to meet his expectation levels that he had for all of us. And I will be forever grateful to have had the opportunity to coach with this guy for 4 years.
Daddy Willie, as much as you can recall, given the audience today, favorite story of Coach Parcells and you? Any of those interactions on the sideline?
I was hoping you would ask, Bob. All right, this is my. Get ready, Coach. Willie Mack, you'll remember this. A lot of people might forget this game, but there was the game that we played. It was the last regular season game in 1996. We played the New York Giants in the Meadowlands, and we were 10-5 going into this last game. Now, we had already clinched a berth in the playoffs that year. We were a wild card team at that point, but we had a chance, if we beat the Giants in that last regular season game, to get a bye week going into the playoffs, which, as all Pats fans know, that bye week helps us out, doesn't it? So that was an important game for us to win. Well, we go into that game, and after the first half, we're down 22-0. We're getting our butts kicked, okay, up and down. Just did no show to start that game. And it was the best non-speech I've ever heard a coach give. And what happens is usually before you go out to play the second half, we all get together as a team, and the head coach has some words for you. And Coach Parcells, he comes up to all of us, and he looks at all of us throughout the room with a hard stare. He shakes his head in disgust, turns and walks out the door. He doesn't say one word. The second half, we don't give up 1 point in the second half, and we win on the last play of the game, a pass to Ben Coates at the 2-yard line who gets pushed in, and we win the game 23-22. And that gave us that bye, and that was what helped propel us to the Super Bowl that year. That was the best non-speech I've ever heard. And that's an example of the motivational powers that Coach Parcells has.
And Willie?
Really quick, I got two things. The motivation thing is, I remember he didn't always hand out like slaps on the back or good game, right, Ty? Or Ted, or you did a great job, or whatever the case may be. So I think I had like, I don't know, 3 or 4 games where I had one good game, nothing. He walked by in the stretch line, how you doing, whatever. Another good game. I had like 3 or 4, on the fourth game that I was just like tearing things up. He comes over and he says, McGinnis, he says, finally starting to play. I said, right, where you been? He was just like, let me tell you something important. He said, anybody, and this hit me hard as a player, anybody could do it once or do it twice. The great players, they do it all the time. And that stuck with me, Coach. That stuck with me forever. And for all the other players here, you understand what that means. And this is what this place has been built from ownership all the way down. The consistency, always getting better, always finding ways to get better. Don't take time to pat yourself on the back, because there's always more work to do, and there's always room to develop and get better. Now, here is my life-changing NFL moment. My rookie year, we used to have practices, and not those practices they have now, real practices. 2-a-days, full pads, right, Marty?
Preach.
Marty
Moore knows.
Marty Moore knows.
Max, you know.
Max, Scott, real practices, full pads. Ty, what was it, 12, 13 practices in a row? In a row, full pads, 2-a-days, in the heat, goal line, half line, full line, everything. All right? He looked at everybody and he said, and I know you remember this phrase, there is no light
at the end of the tunnel.
At the end of the tunnel. So I'm a rookie, and the rookies had to do special teams. You had to do your reps on defense. You had to do everything. This is the first practice after I don't know, like the 10th practice. I go into a full body breakdown. Jim, you know how this goes. Cramping, all those different things. My body breaks down. After the first practice, the van comes. They take me to the hospital. I'm in IVs, air conditioned, the nice white sheets is cool. I'm like, great, I don't have to go to practice. I'm done for the day. He's getting on my, you know what, nerves. He was in my ear all practice. Here comes the ball boy. After about an hour, he wakes me up. My pads, everything is on the side of the bed. It's on the side of the bed. I thought I was done for the day. He says, Coach Parcells is expecting you at the second practice. I get unhooked from the IV. I'm like, is he serious? Like, do I really, like, you got the right guy. Like, you saw what happened to me. Like, you guys had to literally pick me up, drive me to the hospital. I put on my stuff. I come to practice. I think I'm going to be on the sideline or whatever. He's like, Willie, hurry up and get in the stretch line. He walks by, and he said, did you think that you wasn't going to have to practice for the second practice? And I said, nah, Coach, I knew I was going to have to practice the entire time. I just thought you'd have a little mercy, and there was no mercy. But what it taught me was, no matter what you go through on this football field, no matter what happens with your brothers or whatever, to always continue to fight, to never give up. And that's why they call him Winter Bill, because we went hard all summer, we went hard all year long, we were physical, and when teams start to wear down, that toughness in us always kicked up, and we started to win all our games.
You won a lot of them. Willie, Ted, Dante, Coach, thank you so much. I'll let you guys get back to your seats.
I'll take that, Coach. I got you.
And we'll welcome up another special guest, the president of the Kraft Group, Jonathan Kraft.
Thanks. That was pretty good. I hadn't heard that Willie story before. Anyhow, look, we're all gathered here today to celebrate two iconic members of the Patriot family. One, a head coach who, as you just heard, came in with the highest expectations, and he delivered on them. He brought us back to relevancy. And the other, a player that arrived with no expectations at all. Julian walked into Foxborough without any fanfare. All he had was a 7th-round draft card, a quarterback's resume from Kent State, a chip on his shoulder as big as Gillette Stadium, and he had an out-of-this-world work ethic and motivation instilled in him by his father, Frank. Julian wasn't even supposed to make the team his rookie year. He certainly wasn't supposed to go on to become Tom Brady's go-to guy, and he definitely wasn't supposed to go on to be a Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. But Julian didn't just defy the expectations, he obliterated them. He obliterated them with his athleticism, with his physical toughness, and with his versatility. Those attributes all together allowed him to create some of the most iconic, jaw-dropping, memorable moments in Patriot history. The one to me that stands out on athleticism, I just point you to Super Bowl 51, all these plays we saw in the video, but the catch. Arguably the most important, memorable catch in Patriots history, intertangled with 3 Falcons, the tip ball falling to the turf, centimeters off the ground, he grabs it. To keep the game-tying drive alive with a little over 2 minutes to go. And the play that really embodies his physical toughness to me took place 2 years earlier, almost very similar situation. Super Bowl 49, about 10 minutes to go in the game. We're down 10 points. We're deep in our own end. It's 3rd and 14. And Tommy hits Jules right over the middle. But as Jules catches the ball, Cam Chancellor hits him as hard as a defender can hit a receiver. 1,000 out of 1,000 other receivers in that moment getting hit like that dropped the ball. Not Julian. Caught the ball, first down, we score a touchdown. And his versatility was defined just 3 weeks earlier. We saw the play on the video, but 3 weeks earlier in the divisional game against the Ravens, we're down 7 in the 3rd quarter. He throws a dime of a touchdown pass to Danny Amendola. 51 yards, and he walks off the field and just looks at Brady and says, "That's how it's done." And his versatility was so important, and it's so important to the team. I got to point out one other thing. It was in the video. But people forget that in 2011, he played almost 100 snaps as a defensive back. He had 13 tackles. He took 27 snaps in the AFC Championship game. We beat the Ravens and went to Super Bowl 46. But as you heard Willie just say, and you heard what Coach Parcells preached, it's not just about those moments. Those were memorable ones. It's about consistency. And anytime Julian ran a route, Frank was ringing in his ears. It was 100% effort. It was surgical precision. If he was on the field during a running play, he blocked like a pulling guard. And when he was returning punts, not only did you get full effort every time, but you got all that shiftiness and speed. And as Stacey James said to me, it's like he was a caffeinated squirrel. Stacey, that's your line, not mine. But as you just heard Willie talk about here with the consistency and Coach Parcells, he was consistent at one other thing too, which was a pretty good skill of his, and that was talking. He would talk to the opposing team constantly. He would talk to the refs. He would talk to his teammates. He would talk to the media. And he could back it up. So few can back it up, but he deserved to talk because he can back it up. He's still talking today. We see him with Gronk on the Fox pregame show. If you haven't checked out their Dudes on Dudes podcast, you have to. Coach Parcells said he listens to it all the time. He's like, I wish I coached that guy. Julian spent all 12 of his NFL seasons right here in New England. And by the sounds of that cheer, we all know that that matters to all of us. In this hall, longevity in the uniform matters. And when the fans vote on the enshrinee each year, they take that into account. It means something to them. Loyalty means something to them, and Julian gave us both. He finished his career with 620 receptions, 6,822 receiving yards, 36 touchdowns, almost 2,000 yards as a punt returner, 4 punts returned for touchdowns. But where he really shined was the postseason. Julian is second all-time in NFL history, only to Jerry Rice in postseason receptions and receiving yards. He won 3 Super Bowls. He has 3 rings. He led our team in receiving yards in 2 of them. He won Super Bowl MVP. He was the Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 53. Julian, you weren't just clutch. You were chaos in cleats. On third, that was Stacy too. Stacy gave me that one. I don't take credit. I'm not creative. On third down, when everybody in the stadium knew where the ball was going, all the defenders, he still made the play. He made 4th down comebacks look like routine dramas, and he made every kid in New England believe that it was about heart over height, it was about hustle over hype, and that being underestimated fuels greatness. Julian, ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to present the 37th member of the Hall of Fame, Julian Edelman.
Man, that's a great speech. It's a great speech, and it's honestly an honor to be on this stage with Coach Parcells and the other Hall of Fame inductees. First off, I just want to take a second here. I mean, look around. Foxborough, Gillette Stadium, this place is huge. The fans, my family sitting right here in the front row. Hey, baby girl. To be standing up here today, being inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame, is pretty surreal. I stand before you in a red jacket with the honor of being enshrined forever. But for years, I would drive up to this building, this stadium, praying it wouldn't be my last. There was so much uncertainty that comes into a late round pick chasing his dream to be in this league. I came here a NorCal kid who played college football in Northeast Ohio, not knowing what position I'd play, certainly not knowing what my future held. And I literally had to Google where Foxborough was. All I think I remembered was 02 Madden. I think there's a bunch of trees around it and thought it was a glitch in the game. But the one thing I did know is that I've been given an opportunity. Here, I found a building full of some of the smartest, hardworking men and women I'd ever been around. A group of men from all different walks of life coming together for the pursuit of one common goal, no matter what it took. And I'm so glad this place became my home. To stand here now, knowing I'm forever part of this organization's history, is the ultimate honor. And first, I want to thank the Kraft family. RKK, I can still remember like it was yesterday, one of our first team meetings with you in there. You said the only way you were going to be able to buy this team, your wife said, Myra, Miss Kraft, which I got to meet her and be around her for my first few years, you said she was going to make you have to make an impact on the community. And that's what you did. So thank you, Mr. Kraft, for all the wisdom that you gave me in the building, outside the building. I love going over our faith of Judaism together. And thank you for believing in me, for creating a culture where someone like me could find a role and thrive. You built something special here, something that goes beyond wins and losses. It's about family and it's about community. Now, when I first got drafted here, even though I had no idea where Foxborough was, I certainly knew the legend of Tom, Bill, and RKK, the dominance of those early 2000s teams. There was an aura around this organization, so I was excited for my opportunity. Walking in on my first day of rookie minicamp, I knew it was going to be an extreme challenge to make this team. Then the big dogs showed up. Tom made it look so easy. I remember the first time I saw him throw a ball, I was like, holy smokes. Suddenly my switch from QB to receiver seemed like a great decision. And then I saw Randy Moss on the other end of that throw. You guys are cheering. I was cheering in practice. It was like poetry in motion. I knew I had a lot to learn. But luckily, I had an incredible support system around me. Mentors and coaches who love to do exactly that, coach you and coach you hard. Those first few years, I knew my place. Be seen, not heard. I learned how to write an insane amount of notes, ask questions. I had a lot of mental reps, didn't play a lot, and definitely learned to not interrupt Randy Moss while he was talking to his mother on the phone. I was a sponge. I absorbed everything I could, and I never stopped in my 12 years. In those 12 years here, I was fortunate enough to play in some incredible games, be part of some big moments. Everyone wants to talk about the catch, or Malcolm's interception in that Super Bowl, or the Super Bowl MVP, and I'll never forget any of those, but those moments go by so fast. What I truly cherish are the countless hours we put in to make those moments happen. For example, before every day, every practice, I used to have to get my hand-eye coordination going, and I'd do these ball drills. It started with the wall, a bucket of different colored tennis balls, and someone throwing to me. Now, it sounds simple enough. I had to get my focus right. I had real bad ADD. And I also needed to learn how to create a routine. That's what I saw from all the great guys. They had great routines. But I was really particular with these drills, so I would put together a combine. And I would pull people from the equipment staff, the training staff, the weight staff, the offensive assistants, anyone that had any kind of athletic ability in their background, and I'd run them through a series of drills to see who threw the best ball. Of course, right? So I got to shout out my guys, Double J's, Jimmy Neutron, Bobby Balls, Wally, Frank Ross, and countless other guys. I love you guys. I spent a lot of time with those guys at 5 a.m. in the morning or 8 o'clock at night after practice. Anytime I needed to get my confidence, those guys were always there. Bobby Balls is here. I saw him somewhere. You know, they love to work, and I love to work. I took pride knowing that I was doing absolutely everything I could to get the most out of my day, my week, and ultimately my career. Trying to find the edge, which the old dogs always used to say, like, we got to catch the edge on you guys. So that was a little tip to them. Playing in the National Football League is a dream for every football player, no matter who drafts you. But there is something special about New England. What makes this place so special and so great is how much everyone here cares. Not just the players, coaches, and the front office. I mean everyone. You heard Coach Parcells bring up Nancy. From the trainers, Jim Whalen, to the Nancys in the building, to the trainers like Joe V, Jim Whalen, the nutritionist Ted, our security guards, our lunch ladies, everyone in the hallways, we all knew we were part of something bigger. And everyone did their job, and they did it well. So thank you, guys. We built so many awesome relationships and memories over the years. And I know I wasn't the easiest person to be around all the time, but I knew without everyone buying in behind the scenes, this whole thing never happens. And none of this ever happens without my support system. The people who got me through the ups and downs, always keeping me in check when things were going good, and always talking me off a ledge when things were going bad. My agents, Don, Steve, Carter, and Chantal, you guys believed in me first. You took a shot on a kid who wasn't even supposed to be drafted, and you showed me the way. And I always remember that. I mean, I remember going on visits. I always had to wear my suit because Don said, hey, this is a job interview. You got to look like you're going in for a job. So I appreciate you guys. I love you. To my friends, all my friends from back home, LA, Josh, Jeff, Eric, Texas, Lisa, Boston. I have so many new friends here. New York, you always had my back. Having a great group of friends along the way makes the journey so much better. So thank you all. And especially Kurt, my boy Kurt. You stuck around with me from the days of catching balls and shagging balls in Redwood City, Red Morton Park, all the way to Super Bowl parades down Boylston Street. I couldn't have done it without you, bro. I appreciate you. At its core, football is the ultimate team game. 11 guys doing their jobs for 5 seconds at a time, 50 to 70 plays, 110 in Super Bowl 51 or something like that. And I mean, if one guy messes up, it could be a colossal disaster. Just like in life, nothing in the game of football is achievable alone. And on this team, we only cared about one stat and one stat only: the win-loss column. First, like any good receiver, I gotta give a shout out to my quarterback, the hand that feeds you, right? TB12. You know, I was lucky to be drafted here because I got to be around a guy like him who was a role model in this league. The guy who taught me what it meant to be a professional, how to take care of your body. Shout out to Mr. Miyagi, Alex Guerrero. The standard you set, Tom, the drive, your dedication, your example drove us all to be better. And he was the same guy every day. And that was over 22 years. That's a lot of days, guys. That's a lot of days. And one of the first things Tom Brady ever said to me, I think we just got out of one of our first OTA practices, and I already told you, I was in awe of watching him throw. I go, man, you work so hard. And he looked at me with those blue eyes and that jawline. He goes, babe, if all you ever do is all you ever done, then all you ever get is all you ever got. Then he winked at me and left. I was like, what? And that was Tom. Thank you for letting me be, bringing me in, and allowing me to learn from you, bro. But I wouldn't be nothing without all my teammates. To the guys that push me to be better every day, like the Danny Amendolas, the Rob. the Rob Ninkoviches, the Patrick Chungs, the Devin McCourtys, the Malcolm Butlers, to the guys that went out of their way to show me how to be a professional, like the Kevin Falks, or the Vince Wilforks, the Logan Mankins, the Dan Conleys, the Sam Akins, the Fred Taylors, or the guys that picked me up when I was down, like Matthew Slater. Slate was always there. We lived together for 4 or 5 years, like a college frat house, pizza boxes as furniture. And we would both have to go to these 6 a.m. Scotty O'Brien pre-meetings to go over the special teams meetings before the meetings. So we would go over punt return, kickoff return, field goal block. Didn't matter if we were on it, we were there. And that created a lasting friendship, a brotherhood. And through the years, when we'd go down a 2-game losing streak or something was going on in the building, me and Slate would pass each other in the hall. We'd call for a State of the Union, as we used to call it, back at our house. And it was a way for us to express the stress that playing in New England caused. It was a way for us to vocalize our fears that the sky was falling, which it almost never was. But it was always good to have a person you could talk to that knows exactly what you are going through. Brother for life, man. You're a brother for life. I love you, Slate. Another great example of a professional, before he had kids, a son, now a father, a husband, and I believe that God put Slate in my life for a reason. I love you, bro. Now, over my career, I played with thousands of players, so if I forget you, I am sorry, but it was my job to go across the middle every Sunday and dig out that force. But here it goes. Here's a couple. Gronk, he was such an inspiration. Gronk was such an inspiration on how he enjoyed football, his genuineness, and that, I mean, it was insane. Danny Amendola. Yeah, you guys were cheering, but when he signed here, I wasn't cheering. I was pissed about it. But you know what? Danny, being the calm, cool, collect dude he was, he always looked out after me. He always knew when I was pissed off about something, and he would always bring me up, man. I love you. Hoy Dog, Brian Hoyer, or Axel Hoyer. Still remember doing those walkthroughs in those hotel rooms to try to get those formation personnel groups and those plays down, bro, rookie year. That was awesome. Chung, me and Chung used to fight like every day in practice. He was the safety I had to block. Randy, West, those guys were unbelievable examples to watch how to be a professional. I'd throw Aqib Talib, Revis, and Devin McCourty in there. We used to challenge each other every single day. And we would fight, but that's what brothers do. Mankins, Dan Conley, Matt Light, Steve Neal, Ryan Wendell, Seabass, Cannon, D.A., and Stork, the big dogs. I'm a former quarterback. You got to give the linemen some love, right? And I'm also a smart guy that loves food, and they always had the best Thanksgivings. And also Sam Akin, he was a special teams captain my rookie year. He gave us a lot of knowledge on how to create value to be able to stick on a team. And there's countless guys. These are just the few that I love. And what a team really does, it makes you hold yourself to a higher standard than you ever thought was possible, because you didn't want to be the guy to let the guys down. And speaking of people who are easily let down, I also want to thank my coaches, my professional coaches. They were tough, high standard here. But my Pop Warner coach is from Redwood City, the Coach Guida, R.I.P. Frank Guida. He was one of the huge people in my community with football. Coach Nicolopoulos, Coach Sam, R.I.P. to you, Coach Sam, at Woodside High School. Coach Owens, Coach Tulloch at College of San Mateo, and then Coach Martin at Kent State. And I would put Casey Wolf in there too. He was like my life coach. He's here today. Thank you for being here, Casey. You always believed in me. And then, of course, all the coaches who helped me play my 12 years here in New England. We'll start at the top. Coach Belichick. Now, Coach Parcells, I didn't play for you, so I'm sorry about this. But he's one of the greatest coaches that I've ever had. I lived in constant fear of Coach, and still kind of do. But I can't thank him enough for giving me an opportunity. Your coaching was tough, it was hard, it was honest. And sometimes we didn't understand why we were doing what we were doing, but it always seemed to pay off. Now, Coach Belichick used to say, to improve, you can't just work hard. You need to find a peer or a coach, ask them how to get better, they will specify it, and then you work hard on those specifics, and that's how you improve. And I took that to heart. It sounds so simple, but I found out it was. Thanks, Coach. Now, in the facility, Bill was like the principal, and all the other coaches and coordinators were kind of like the faculty, and then you had Scar, who was kind of like the dean. I would go up to these guys for advice on how to get the most out of myself and what I had to do to contribute to the team. Josh McDaniels, man. When you got here, you believed in me, you gave me opportunity, you developed me, and I love you to death for that. Coach Scarnecchio. Now, Coach Scar wasn't my coach, but he had an unbelievable way of bringing the guys up in the littlest way in an environment that didn't really give compliments. I can specifically remember on a 4th and 2 play against Indianapolis Colts, we had a schemed up reverse. Do you remember this, Coach? No. Yeah, well, we had this schemed up reverse and we got blown up, but I somehow got the first down. And I don't think we played a very good game, so we won the game, but it wasn't like a win. And I remember, I was kind of down on myself for some of the other things I did in that game. I was walking through the hall. I remember Coach Scar came up to me and he goes, we're sure lucky to have you. And that went so far. I appreciate that, Coach. Billy O'Brien was my first offensive coordinator. He was a guy that challenged me. He coached me hard. He's here today. He's Boston College head coach. Let's go, BC. Let's go, BC. I love you to death. Matty P, Scotty O, Coach Fears, and the list goes on. There's so many. But I'll tell you a little story about my pre-draft process. The first person I met from the Patriots was running backs coach Ivan Fears. He came to work me out at Kent State, and there was this snowstorm that day, so we worked out in our bubble. We had a bubble. It was kind of jankety, but we had a bubble. He worked me out as a running back, and then he also worked me out as a receiver. And shout out to Charlie Fry, because Charlie Fry, under that whole process, he would come to all my workouts, and he would throw to me. He was a quarterback on the Oakland Raiders, and he went to my rival school at Akron, and that was a big deal. But getting back to my story with Coach Fears, when it was time to go out and catch punts, like I said, there was a snowstorm. And if any of you guys know Ivan, he didn't love the weather that much. He was all bundled up like Randy from Christmas Story. He saw me catch 2 punts, and then he said, all right, we're done. And we left, and I caught 2 punts, and I was like, oh, that went well. And we always had a special relationship because of that. He was the first person I got to meet from this organization, and I love Coach Fears. And then the next step of the process, they sent out Scotty O'Brien, our special teams coordinator. And before the workout, Scotty O goes, do you know how to catch a punt? And I lied. Heck yeah, coach, I know, I got it. And he goes, you know how to read a punt? And I go, what do you mean read a punt? And he goes, well, the tip. He goes, well, if the tip goes over on a right-footed punter, you got to play it on your right chest so you get a two-way go. And I'm like, oh, cool, he's looking out for me. And if it doesn't turn over, it's going to die and go right on a right-footed punter. You got to play it on your left chest so you got a two-way go. I'm like, all right, this guy's helping me out. He's helping me out. He goes, what's the punt returner's first job to do on the field? I go, this is easy. You got to look at the wind. He goes, no, you don't. What are we doing? What are we doing? You got to count the players on the field to be legal, blubs. Nice. And that was Scotty O summed up in a sentence. We spent so much time, like I said, me and Matthew, with Scott O'Brien the first few years of my career. We learned everything from his TI-83 investments that he made a boatload of money on. We were not making a lot of money at that time. We found out his dad was Jack Dempsey's boxing trainer. And me and Slate used to sit under this cigar, a big old cigar. And Scotty O, every time he would look at it, he goes, we're going to smoke that thing after we win a Super Bowl. And we did. I also got to give a special thank you to my receiver coach, Chatty O'Shea. We came in together. He was like my psychiatrist, always reading my energy, challenging me the right way, pushing the right buttons. And there's a lot of roles for coaches. Yes, they got to give you the info and the technique, but you spend so much time with these guys, especially as younger guys. They're almost like a foster parent, and that's what kind of Chatty O was. I love you, Chatty O. Thank you. I was always coachable. Well, not always. But in New England, the staff, they'd coach you, and they'd coach you hard. Landing here with this incredible staff molded me into the person I am today. To my family, thank you for being my rock. You kept me grounded when things were tough. You kept me humble when things were going well. My older brother, Jason, thank you for beating me up. He made me tough. My brother was 7 years older than me. I used to play with him and his friends. They'd all beat me up too. And it made me fearless. Anytime a guy was 2 feet taller than me, I was never scared of him because of that. And I probably deserved all those beat-ups. But I love you, and thank you, bro. My sister, Nicole, thank you for all your love and support. You were always there. Whether Dad was throwing me batting practice and you were shagging the balls, or whether you were on first base while I was at short throwing you were always there, and you did it with a smile on your face. And congratulations to the new addition to our family, baby Colette. She's had a baby. My mom. Now, my mom's one of the most loyal people in this world. I mean, I had a bag lunch until junior college, and they were the best lunches. I had a PB&J, a deli sandwich, a Coke, well, usually a Safeway Select on sale, a water, chips, and a Hostess. She was the best. She drove me to all our sporting events. We were always 20 minutes early. She basically raised us while my dad was working. But my mom's also a real tough lady. My dad's mom, my grandma used to say, that lady's meaner than a two-headed rattlesnake. And trust me, if you got in between my mom and her family, you better watch out. And honestly, that was me on the field, Mom. Your fire was me in between the lines, and I love you. I love you more than anything. And to my father, my first coach, you instilled so much in me growing up. But most importantly, you instilled work ethic. The idea that nothing in life is given to you or fair, and all you can worry about is what's on your plate that day. You preach, do the little things, and focus on what you can control. And that's something I lived by. You taught me the importance of a routine. See, my dad, he would get up at 5 a.m. He was a mechanic. He'd go open up his shop at 6 a.m. He'd work a 12-hour day. Then I'd see him before practice so we could practice before practice, or before a game so we could practice before the game. We did that every day, and I needed that. All those years of school, homework, repeat, that prepared me for the NFL grind. He was tough, and these days he might be thrown in jail for how he did things. But I wouldn't be here without him. He would always say, keep your head down, no sniveling, and get to work. Thanks, Pop, I love you. And to my lily bug, my lily rosemary, everything I do for you. I hope you understand why Dad's always working so hard, always beat up, always sore. It was for moments like this to show you that if you commit to something and give 100%, there's nothing you can't do. Focus and attitude. Focus and attitude, right? The greatest thing about being a parent is that your kid inspires you. Teaching them life lessons is a great reminder for yourself. And like Barry White said, you got to practice what you preach. And then there's you guys, the fans. Patriot Nation. From the freezing cold nights to the rainy afternoons, you showed up. And you give us some boo birds every once in a while if we deserved it. But you believed in us, and you believed in me. I wasn't the flashiest player, but you embraced me for who I was. A grinder, a fighter, a guy who tried to leave it out on the field every Sunday. Now, New England was the perfect fit for my mentality. A hard-working region that puts heart and toughness above all. And your support meant more than you'll ever know. So thank you. So here we are, a 7th round draft pick, now standing in the Patriots Hall of Fame. You know, if that doesn't tell you something about what's possible, I don't know what will. We love you too. I love you guys too. And to all the young bucks out there, don't let anyone tell you what you can or cannot be. Don't let where you start dictate where you finish. For me, when things would start to seem impossible, memorizing a playbook, rehabbing from an injury, trying to get a call back from Tom Brady, I would remember what my dad used to tell me as a little boy. He would say, son, life is simple but hard. Meaning it's simple knowing what you have to do. We all know what we have to do to be a better teacher, to be a better parent, to be a better person, to be a better worker, be a better student. But actually doing it is the hard part. I'll always be proud to say I'm a New England Patriot. And this place made me who I am today. And now, to be part of its history is the greatest honor of my career. So thank you to the Kraft family. Thank you to my coaches. Thank you to my teammates. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes. Thank you to my friends and family. And thank you, Patriots Nation. And thank you to football for giving me a life I could never have dreamed of. And I want to wish everyone a happy new year coming up. Shana Tova. And Foxborough forever. Thank you.
Julian, thank you. And if you'll have a seat here momentarily, we'd like to welcome former teammates and coaches Danny Amendola, Josh McDaniels, Bill O'Brien, and Matthew Slater to the stage. While we also hear from a couple of guys that Julian just mentioned, some of his former teammates.
Julian, congratulations on being inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame. Such a well-deserved honor, and honestly, there's nobody who is more deserving and who embodies what it means to be a Patriot more than you. The toughness, the competitiveness, the relentless drive you brought every day to work, and everybody saw the catches on Sundays, but what I got to see were all the hours that nobody else did, all the late nights, the film sessions, all the things we did in Montana, in Brookline, the practices you pushed through. Most people couldn't. That's why you became the player that you were, and that's why you have that red jacket and you're standing there today. You weren't the biggest, you weren't the fastest, but nobody was tougher. Nobody was more dependable, and nobody came through in the clutch when it mattered the most more than you. Some of my favorite memories on the field was throwing the ball to you, Jules, in the biggest games with everything on the line. And we built an incredible bond through those battles, and for all the championships we brought all the way home back to New England. So tonight, you get to enjoy the moment. It's your night, and you've earned every bit of it, but you know the drill. Tomorrow, it's back to work. Now that we're on the same team at Fox, I want to keep seeing the same effort you gave me all those years. I love you, Jules. I'm so proud of you. I wish I could be there with you tonight, but it's an incredible honor. Nobody deserves it more. I love you, and I'm proud of you.
What's up, Patriot fans? I am so sorry that I couldn't be there today to celebrate my guy, Julian, in person. I wanted to send a message to say a huge congratulations on being inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame. Jules, AKA the Squirrel, you are so deserving of this honor as one of the fiercest competitors and most clutch performers I have ever played with. You showed up when it mattered most, made the impossible catches, took the hardest hits, and kept getting up. Nothing kept you down. You helped define what it meant to be a Patriot. Toughness, resilience, and a relentless drive to win, and always with a chip on your shoulder, buddy. Thank you for making all those big plays that led to us winning 3 Super Bowls together. Thank you for all the special memories, and thank you for continuing to be a great friend and always being you, kid. Celebrate hard for me today. Congratulations again, and go Pats. And always remember, Jules, you taught me this quote. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. And you define that, Jules. Love you, buddy.
All right, let's welcome former Patriots offensive coordinator, current BC Eagle head coach Bill O'Brien, Matthew Slater, playoff Danny Amendola, current Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels, and of course, Julian Edelman. So Tom's taking your calls these days. How does it make you feel?
You know, the guy gives me video messages. Can't call my phone. I just talked to him. That was awesome to hear that from him. He was the leader. You know, everyone always wants to talk about the Patriot way, and I always like to define it like this. The coaches were like Congress that would make the laws, and the players were like the guys that enforced them. So to hear that from the ultimate leader is an honor.
Julian, the pressure situations, biggest moments, most important games, you came through with regularity, but I wonder how much of that goes back to how you got here in the first place. Those days fielding punts for Ivan and Scotty, what you had to do to embrace all your roles in practice every day. Were those your playoff games day after day after day in respect?
You know what? I thought I was getting cut until like my 5th year, every day. And that's how high stress environment practice was. The practices here were like mini games. That's what Scotty O used to call them. He goes, these are mini games. And that's how all the guys took it. So when we got to Sunday, Tom would always say, we got the answers to the test. We just got to go do it now because our practices were so hard. And that's what you leaned on through all the moments. Anytime I felt like I wasn't as confident as I needed to be, I'd go catch some balls. I would go do something. I would try to catch an edge.
Billy, you were the OC, as Julian said when he got here. You get a quarterback from Kent State. He's proven he can catch punts. He proved in day one in the preseason that he could return them. What did it take to become a wide receiver, particularly that position, all the intricacies of playing the slot position, from where he started to where he ended?
Yeah, it's an incredible story. It's a huge credit to Julian. You know, he talked a lot about it. I mean, to come in when he came in, having never played that position before, and to come into that room, he talked about it a little bit. There was, you know, Randy Moss was in that room, and Wes Welker, and obviously Tom was the quarterback. I give him a lot of credit. He credited, rightfully so, Chad O'Shea. Nick Caserio was another guy that spent a lot of time with him when he first came here. And I can remember him, I said this earlier to him, he was a guy that never got down. He got very frustrated. He was frustrated when he couldn't, you know, maybe get it the exact way that it was supposed to be. But he never got down on himself. He just figured it out and had a relentless attitude. And, you know, the new phrase today is competitive stamina. He had an amazing competitive stamina day in and day out to get better.
Julian, you're coaching young wide receivers today. You've brought guys into this organization and taught them the Patriot ways of playing wide receiver. How often do you go to the teach tape of Julian Edelman?
Often. He's on a lot of those clips. And, you know, his versatility was mentioned already today. And there was so many things that Julian ended up being really good at. And, you know, his effort and his work ethic, his toughness all stand out. But there was so many other details that allowed him to play all these different positions. And as a play caller and as an offensive coordinator, you know, whenever you needed a specific play, whether it's third down or the red zone, you're thinking about players and where to put them and how to get them the opportunity to get the ball. And Julian earned that because he became such a versatile piece to our offense.
Matthew, Bill touched on the frustration Julian might show. He talked about your relationship. Take us back to those days and then take us forward to Super Bowl 53 on the field, that embrace after you beat the Rams. He's the MVP. You held him in your embrace. How did you get from point A to there?
Yeah, well, let me say how incredibly proud of Julian that I am. To be able to witness his entire professional journey is one of the highlights of my professional career. So to see him come in when he was Julian Edelman, now he's JE11, and to see that transformation was incredible. And there's one thing I'll say about Julian's career: nothing was given to him. He had to fight and claw for everything that he achieved in this league. He committed himself to the process. He showed a level of toughness that elevated our entire team, and it made everyone around him better. So to see all those qualities on display day in and day out, and watch them all come together the way that they did in a moment like that, you mentioned the Super Bowl MVP, was so special for me because I felt like I had a front row seat to greatness, and I really did.
Danny, as Julian alluded to, when you came here, Wes Welker had departed through free agency. Patriots signed you, the former Ram. You guys wind up being linked to so many incredible moments on the field. The comeback in the fourth quarter against the Seahawks, the game against the Ravens, that pass play, etc. How did you develop such a great relationship? How did he push you to make you better?
his relentless attitude to prepare well in the off season, during the season. I met Julian when we were 24 years old. We were training in LA together. I was playing for the St. Louis Rams at the time, and he was part of this organization. We'd push each other in the off-season training. We'd root for each other during, our independent seasons. And then I remember having a vivid phone call with Julian one time when my contract was coming up, and I was like, what if we played in the same offense? Would you think they'd be able to guard both of us? And he'd be like, nah, I don't know, Bubs. Yeah, he's like, there's only one ball, but I knew for a fact that if we got to play together, we could compete, we could push each other to get better every single day, and ultimately we put a great product on the field, and that's what he did.
Josh, how'd you do it with these two guys?
I think that's one of the big, everybody talks about Julian being a slot receiver, and I think he's so much more than that, and we had guys that certainly played only in the slot, and, when we had Danny and Jules together, a lot of times we either put both of them in there, or, Danny would be inside and Julian was on the outside. And I think of so many specific plays and games where he spent a lot of the time blocking Jamal Adams or Cam Chancellor or doing a lot of the things that nobody talks about that will never show up in the stat sheet because he wasn't in the slot. He was on the front side of the play and at the point of attack. So you find ways to put great players on the field and try to do the best things with them, and these two certainly deserved it.
Hey, Bill, you had to face him too as the head coach of the Houston Texans in some of those big playoff moments. What did you tell your team about Julian, and in Danny's case too, the two of them together?
Yeah, I mean, you better be ready to go. I mean, we faced them here in a playoff game. I forget what year it was, 18 or 17 or 18. We had a good team. But, they had an incredible team. And those two guys, the competitiveness that they had on the field, and when plays would happen on our sideline, there would be some chatter back and forth, which was all in good fun. But, it was just, you always had to remind your team that it was every play. Like, you could never take a play off when you were playing these guys, that offense, this team, especially in this building, really anywhere, that you had to play every single play. You had to defend every blade of grass when you played these guys.
Lots been said by Julian and about him. Matthew and Danny, I'll leave the last question for both of you. What can you tell us? Got a good story about Julian Edelman that captures him, friend, teammate, that you can share with us, maybe that we haven't heard yet?
Well, I don't think I can share many of them. There are children here today. But on a serious note, and as I get older, I'm soft now. I'm down there tearing up and everything. But people used to ask us all the time. They still do. How in the world did the two of you live together? Like, if you know me and you know him, it doesn't add up. And they used to call us the odd couple. And for me, it is proof of a couple of things. In life, I think there's one thing we all share, and that's humanity. We all have the same need and want to be loved, to be respected, to be seen for who we truly are. And with us, we found common ground. And that's the thing I'm most proud of. We always found common ground. Even when it didn't make sense to everybody else, it made sense to us. And I know this guy came along at a point in time in my life and in my career where I needed support. I needed someone to push me. And I needed a peer to say, hey, I believe in you. I see what you're doing. And he did that for me. So thanks, brother. It's awesome.
That's how good of a guy Slade is. It was more of him supporting, bro. I was over, he was talking me off the ledge. He just liked to listen.
Yeah, I mean, two things really come to mind. Just the way Julian was brought up. Shout out to Frank and Angie. You guys did an amazing job. I got to witness that every single day, and more importantly, the father that you become to Lily. I got to witness that firsthand as Lily's godfather. Pride and joy. I know
I know you're obviously a great football player, and we see highlights of that, but to witness you firsthand as a great father is what's most important, and I appreciate that from you as your friend. So my favorite story with Jules, though, it's halftime. We're playing in Houston, Super Bowl 51, I think, Coach. Julian's shirt always comes off, like whatever, I don't know, whatever we're doing, his shirt's usually coming off. So he's walking around. We're getting the break speed off us at this point. We're down by 1 million points, and Julian's walking around and he's saying, "It's gonna be a hell of a story. It's gonna be a hell of a story." And I just want to say, Julian Edelman, congratulations entering the Patriots Hall of Fame. It is in fact one hell of a story.
I think it's a perfect way to end it. Hey, Bill, thanks so much. All the best to the Eagles rest of the season. Matthew, Danny, great to see you guys again. Josh, have a great one tomorrow. Julian, congratulations. Thanks for so many great moments.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. John, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, Patriots, thank you once again for attending our 17th induction ceremony for the Patriots Hall of Fame presented by RTX. And as we conclude this ceremony, I'll ask all of our Hall of Famers to stay up here on stage with Robert and Jonathan Kraft for a few extra photos. For everyone who is here in attendance, the Patriots Hall will be open tonight until 7 p.m. if you'd like to go in and look around. And thank you, most importantly, we got a game tomorrow. Go Patriots!